Let me introduce you to Mark and Sarah Belden. And Mark today is going to be sharing a little bit of his story with us. So Mark, tell the folks a little bit about you and your wife and your family, maybe what you do for a living, as long as it's legal stuff and nothing illegal.
That was the other life.
So I heard.
So, I guess I'll start with where I grew up, and because it has part to do with how I came to Christ. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, in a single-parent home. So I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and my grandmother, and on my mom's side, take me to church as a young boy. Of course, you know, I'm playing with the cars on the benches. I'm not paying attention, but she always would say things to me, you know, like the golden rule: treat people how you want to be treated, and things like that. So I was getting a little bit of that as a young boy. My mother didn't take me to church, so we moved away from Atlanta to Waterloo, Iowa, of all places. And so before I left, my grandmother gave me a student Bible, kept it forever, and never opened it because no one in our household really nurtured, you know, the study of God and Jesus. And so it just kind of went by the wayside. But all throughout my life, it was funny because when I would do something bad, I would think, oh, my grandmother would be so disappointed in me. But really, I look back now and I know what she really wanted me to think was God would be disappointed in me. And that's what she was trying to teach me. And so fast forward into my 40s, I would, through my 20s, 30s, 40s, I would describe myself as a very stubborn, independent, and you weren't going to tell me anything in a lot of respects. So I was very not humble in a lot of ways. And so I started to, you know, have this feeling of, you know, that there's got to be something better. You know, there, like Greg said this morning, you know, there's got to be some hope, you know, and deep down inside myself, I felt like, you know, there's got to be something else. But I really, you know, I wasn't looking for it. I just kind of knew there was got to be something else than this, right? So I just kind of kept stumbling along and doing my thing, and, you know, I felt like I was pretty blessed. When I look back, I know, you know, God was with me. He blessed me with the talents to provide for myself, and, you know, I think back on situations, and I'm like, boy, that situation could have went a lot worse than the way it turned out. So I feel like God was always with me. Even though I wasn't consciously reading the Bible or anything like that, I always felt like, man, I'm a pretty lucky guy. Didn't know why. But we were living in Lyndhurst, and we were remodeling our kitchen. And the crew of guys that came in, all great guys, but there was one guy in particular that started talking to me and started talking about Jesus, talking about God. And you know, I remember to this day, he said, Mark, yeah, you seem like a person that really is seeking truth. Because we would talk politics, we would talk different things, and you know, and that kind of hit me. I'm like, you know, what's this truth thing he's talking about? And through the course of, I don't know, a couple weeks or 3 weeks, whatever, however long the kitchen remodel lasted. He just kind of bent my ear a little bit, and that's a Dan Scissor. And some time passed, and I just saw a lot of things going on in the world that I just was unhappy about. You know, it kind of made me angry on how people were treating each other. And you think, you know, boy, this isn't working out very well here, you know. And little did I know, you know, that's man's wisdom that a lot of these people are living by, not God's wisdom. And so found myself very upset and searching for something better. And that student Bible that my grandmother gave me was downstairs in a box. I think it was dated 1986 when she gave it to me. And I went down there and I dug it out, and I walked over to the washing machine down the basement and just flipped it open. And it landed on a page that pretty much described how I was feeling. And it hit me, and I thought, there's 1,000 pages in this book, and it just happened to land on this page. And then I started to realize somebody's trying to tell me something here. The wisdom I'm looking for is in this book here. And then I thought of Dan. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to call Dan, and I'm going to say, hey, Dan, I'm ready to go to church. And he was, because he always said, you know, maybe one day I'll see you at church. And so that was the start, the beginning for me. I started coming. I was going to the men's group for a little bit, and then I started coming on Sundays. And everybody was real welcoming. And before I forget, I do want to say that I totally appreciate you guys' support and prayers through my situation. Without it, I don't know that I could have been as strong as I have been. But for those of you that don't know, you know, we'd set a date to get baptized, and I was having some health issues, and I went in and I got diagnosed with esophageal cancer. And I thought I had had some rough days before that. That was a rough day. To hear that, you know, I possibly may not even live a couple of years. The prognosis was I was going to live 1 to 3 years, 11% chance of remission. So that was a very trying day for me and my family. And I feel like on that day, all the combination of everything, God had set me up to deal with that particular day and be strong for my family. Especially, I have a 9-year-old son, especially for him. But I look back and I feel like that was God who was preparing me for that. He put Dan in my life to start me down that road, because he knew what was going to happen. He knew where I was going to be. So I started treatment, and I had 26 weeks off. And when you have that much time off and you're used to working and doing stuff, you have a lot of thinking time. And so during that period, I did a lot of thinking. I did a lot of reading of the Bible. And I just kept asking myself, you know, what is my purpose here? Why am I even here? And what's the purpose to life? And what I have figured out is it's to serve God, number one, and to serve other people. You're here to serve other people. It's not about yourself. It's about other people. And you will find that that is the most satisfying life that you can have. Before that, I was a self-centered, selfish, guy. It was all about me and what I needed. And so that's a really big portion of what God has done for me. He's humbled me. He's taught me to serve other people. And that's where you should be. And it's funny because you see all these advertisements for lifestyle changes and this and that. And, I always think, you need the Bible. There's your lifestyle change. You want a lifestyle change, that's it. Because that culminates everything. And for me, when Dan sat me down and put the Bible in front of me, he gave me John 3. And I've always consistently gone back to that. It just seems to put it in a nutshell for me what you need to do. So I would say in that time of getting news that your time is limited here, and as much as my family gave me support, you guys gave me support, prayed for me, there were times when you're by yourself and you are completely naked to God, and that's when it's time to talk to Him and find what He wants you to do. And I will say that in those moments, I would pray in the mornings. Everyone would be gone, and I would pray, what is it that you want me to do? And I'm, admittingly scared, never really been scared of a whole lot, but this I was scared of. I didn't want to leave my son and my family. And I believe God told me it's going to be okay. And I'm going to take care of you, whatever that means. Of course, I want to live another 50 years, but that may not happen. But I know through the story of Jesus where I'm going, and it's okay. I had a buddy of mine, best friend that we went to high school with, and he came up, and we played golf together. And it was funny, we played golf, and after that, we were talking on the phone one night, and he said to me, Mark, I don't know how you are going through this. And, when we play golf, I'm a sales guy, and I'm trained to read people. And, I was reading you that day. And he's like, you seem to be okay with it. And the only time you ever got emotional was when you were talking about your son and your family. So he noticed that if this is it for me, I'm okay with it. And, that's what God does for you, is He brings you to a place where okay, I've got hope. This isn't the end-all, be-all here. And quite honestly, there's days where I look around and I think, man, it might be better to just go where I'm going a little faster. But, I'm thankful for every day that I have. And I just pray that everyone else doesn't have to go through this, and that I find myself at the Taussig Cancer Center, and I'm praying for all the people around me. I hope that they're okay, that they have the inner peace that I've found, in such hard situations.